let's go to Matt Cardona for next. So he caught some heat on X. Now, I'll be honest. I saw the initial clip, and I didn't think too much of it. I was just thinking, like, he didn't say anything crazy. I just saw it and moved on. But apparently, it caused some stir. I can imagine now, I probably can guess why. But he was on the Chris Van Vliet show. Chris Van Vliet does, again, great interviews. He had Matt Cardona on. He asked Matt Cardona about going back to WWE. So let's start here with what he said about going back to WWE.
Well, it's up to me, you know, or at the WrestleMania hotel. Thanks, Chelsea, for letting me stay in her hotel room for free. You know, all save me some money. Thanks, man.
Found Blue, right?
Yeah, great hotel.
Beautiful.
Great steakhouse, too. But so many people from the office or other wrestlers like, hey, man, when are you coming back? It's like, I don't know. You know, I've reached out many times. I shouldn't say many, a few times. Every couple of months when something cool happens or I have something to say, hey, look what I'm doing. There's been no offer. So
do they write you back?
Of course, yeah. But,
okay.
There's no offer. Everything's very nice, professional, but there's no offer. And you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to keep working my ass off.
What if they said, we'd love for you to do a one-off spot at the Rumble, but you got to be Zak Ryder?
I've had gear ready every single year.
Okay.
So this is the truth. So I always have gear. I'm always ready. I always have gear, right, where it has where the trunks are like the same, but the knee pads are interchangeable to ZR or an MC. So like whatever one I am, you know.
So you wouldn't be opposed to being Zak Ryder?
It's not my first choice.
Okay.
I think Zak Ryder's dead, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Zak Ryder set me up for Matt Cardona. But, I mean, obviously WWE thought Zak Ryder was dead. They fired me 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And my Matt Cardona name, I feel like I've done these interviews for 5 years, right? And again, this is like, how many times have I said this? But I don't care how you define success, money, accolades, happiness. This is the most successful I've ever been in my career as Matt Cardona. But it's because Zak Ryder and WWE set me up for that.
So there we go. Matt Cardona has reached out to WWE, and they left him on red, basically. But there was another
It
question.
sounds like they're still talking, but there just isn't an offer. Doesn't seem to be any interest.
Yes, doesn't seem to be any interest. Now, I can't tell you that I've diehard followed what he's done on the indies. I do hear that he's done good things on the indies, but I couldn't name one thing. He hasn't started a rival company or anything. But there's a couple things there. Again, I haven't seen what he's done in the indies, so I couldn't really say whether or not he's a shoo-in to come back. But again, I've heard good things online about what he's done. I think he should have another chance, really.
Why not? Yeah.
Like comparing him to, you got Tozawa in the company.
They brought in Seth Meyers back.
Yeah, I think he should have another run. But on that note, he did say he'd be willing to come back as Zak Ryder. I think we've had that discussion on whether or not Zak Ryder is a good move. Like, coming back with the woo, 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 you know it.
Yeah, it's a little outdated.
Yeah, but you kind of have to come back to...
If he came back to with theme song, and he could even do the fist pump, but I think just doing the woo woo woos
and the colorful trunks and the hair would be a little much. But I'm sure now, because this video came out this week, so I would be surprised if we don't get some kind of a follow-up on this within a month. Maybe he gets a call back, or maybe he doesn't. And they leak, oh, we don't want him back because of this.
Or maybe they released Chelsea Green.
I think she's kind of a mainstay there, even though she's a jobber. She's landing in that forever jobber role. But this was the clip that went out. Like I said, I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, he wants to go back to his old company. Like, what surprise there? But apparently he was getting some shit about it, and he had to take to Twitter to elaborate on this thing that he said. I love social media and the internet wrestling community. You got to take the good with the bad, right? I did an hour-long interview with Chris Van Vliet. I've received so much great feedback from fans who listened to the entire thing. I received so much negativity and hate for a 1-minute clip where I said, wait for it, that I reached out to the company that I grew up watching, worked for 14 years, and where my wife currently works. You would have thought I said something really bad, huh? Anyways, check out the full interview. It's a fun listen. There's a reason Chris Complete is the #1 wrestling podcast. That's Cat, by the way. We are the #1 wrestling podcast. He does good work, though. We'll give him some credit.